2008. Koya Nyi 2012. Okoya Nyi. You and I were not there, Bemo. 2016. NAE. 2020. My pension one echo.
I know.
What's so special about you? We are Nipa Bang.
I don't really see anything special, but BBI edition Yaminsem. Yamidia, you know, and most of the times we don't know how he puts things, but that is how it has happened. And Sana etie, so midanyamiase na mida. My boss, Nana Adodankwa Akufuado, and also I say because only now make a choice, you know, or pair on choosing me, but consistency, you know, any, you know, the faith in me, I all want Intina, Yamiadum was choosing me 4 consecutive times. Mingidi say Ghana, Abiesida. So we did Nina Yami Ninshe Yami.
From candidate to vice president, how does it feel at saying? Then Assasa.
Of course, Agyemang Assasa, Agyemang Oye as candidate, you know, it's a bit different from Agyemang Oye as vice president. Yeah. As vice president, you know, my boss and mommy, Juma said I may chair economic management team and also overseeing a lot of other things he has asked me to do. While him say constitution no and I am my vice president in a specific role. Yeah. So what you can do is what your boss asks you to do. Well, and he said the assassin said, yeah, Agyemang assassin. So we're sort of working on the agenda of the president. Deliver on what we have promised and what he has promised and what he wants us to deliver. So Sana assassin. Otherwise, but for me personally, dear, I'm still the same.
I see.
I'm not seeing any change in me.
Well, you've put on weight.
A little bit.
Oh, I can see if and no, I send an answer. We could try photo me, you know. Mra also in inauguration, and then the companions here. And we say,
so maybe actually, my put on weight.
The stress of the job.
Well, yeah, any late night eating, no. So we are on it. Yeah, of course, we are doing more exercise now.
I see. Mahamudu and pay Peace 104.3 na mutie Mahamudu small show UTV live on Mampenyi Abedi Chire Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia ewa anope na enkomotwetwe de ensem no edoso. Mr. Vice President, oka say moye o Mampenyi vision. Nia o Mampenyi aye na adwen say nani swade hunu a oye. And all the Jumani be a shaman, Sassamoyamano, economic management team near there. Yes, started with the economy. Or Hona Minim say, will be any say now, would you mark what time a moya campaign our running mate? Or share economy then and now. Yamoyan at saying.
Yamiadum, I think economy then and now no is like night and day. Vast difference, Womu. And the way that under the leadership of Nana Akufuado said a manage economy, no. The outcome is quite clear and it's a superior outcome to what we inherited. There was not a hochri. We've been able to manage the economy and delivered a few solid records. We share a fiscal deficit between 2016 and 2019. The bar form, and then we share from 6.8 to 4.8%. We share primary surplus as far as the primary surplus, which indicates your expenditure less your revenue less your expenditure, excluding your interest payments. And also, we between 2017 and 2019, no, we had surpluses for 3 consecutive years, and that was first time in our in our history, for a long history, that we've had that. First time in a decade, really, specifically, that we've had that. And then the rate of debt accumulation, the rate of debt increase in our debt stock has also slowed down, decline in inflation. And also, if you look at our interest rates, we have also seen a major decline in lending rates from 32 to 23%. The monetary policy rate came down from 25.5 to 14.5%. A trade surplus also, between 2017 and 2019. This is the first time in 2 decades Ayanya trade surplus 3 consecutive years in a row. Which were exchange rate depreciation, and also who say the rate of depreciation has been halved, 50% less compared to what we inherited. And also a major achievement. And even when you look at this year, we are having a COVID year and an election year.
Yeah, COVID.
The year so far, no, your exchange rate, no, is around a 2% depreciation, which is really a stable exchange rate by all accounts in an election year. So as far as the management of the economy is concerned, no, we have done a lot. The sovereign credit rating has increased. We were upgraded by S&P for the first time in a decade. We had the largest Eurobond issued, longest Eurobond issued by a sub-Saharan African country, 41-year bond, and that shows confidence. We've cleaned up a lot of the financial mess that we inherited in the financial system.
Interesting, Mr. Vice President. So, but
we said, you're moving the economy from taxation to production, and also, we've reduced and abolished over 15 separate taxes, including a 50% decrease in import duty, and notwithstanding the reduction in the taxes, revenue still went up by 25% on average. Usually, real sector no more so. Production was going up, a great increase from 2.9% to 6.4%. Industry from 4.3% to 8.8%. Services also 2.8% to 5.4% between 2017 and 2019 before COVID hit. So when we say we are really moving on the real sector of the economy, and then we are digitizing the economy. I hope we will talk a little bit about digitization later on. But this was an economy we inherited that. No, teacher training allowance, nursing training allowance. Teachers are almost 2 to 3 years. No more 3 months arrears. 3 months for 2 to 3 years work. Arabic instructors, unemployment, ambulances, NHIS, the arrears were almost 12 months. So this was the same economy I inherited. And within a speed of a 1-year budget, this same economy that teacher training allowance, free senior high school, major item of expenditure. Which the same economy that we inherited. Yes, we had to relook at the prioritization of our expenditure. We went through a process of fiscal consolidation, relooked at our prioritization of the expenditure. And I remember quite clearly President Bisaya said, can we implement it in the first year? Yes, Mr. President. If it's your priority, we will implement free SHS in the first year. And then we went ahead and did it. We removed a lot of nuisance taxes. We expanded the growth through planting for food and jobs and other things. We expanded the growth of the economy. We inherited a 3.7% growth, and on average, we've done a 7% growth between 2017 and 2019. And that increase in growth means increase in revenues. And so we have been able to expand the fiscal space. And then the nature of the management of the debt was also important. When for example, we were spending 6.9% of GDP, our income, on debt servicing. By 2019, we're spending 5.6%. So even though the debt stock had increased, but the burden on the economy had decreased. So that takes some management. And as you know, we were able to work through and exit the IMF program, which was done successfully. So we were able to turn around the economy, an economy that was hamstrung. There was a freeze on employment. You couldn't hire teachers and doctors as you willed to do. There was a freeze on public sector employment. We've been able to create this fiscal space. We've done free SHS, we've done NABCO, we've done, one village, one dam, one constituency, one ambulance, all of these interventions. But the economy we inherited, na teacher training or nursing training. That was the result of the mismanagement of the economy. And that is what we campaigned on. And so we are very happy. We think that there is more to do, but the record of performance is clearly superior. I mean, any aspect of the economy. And I mean any aspect of the economy, our record is superior to what we inherited.
Talking about record is superior. Meaning, say, as an economist, numbers versus reality.
That's right.
Yes, why 6.5? You're about 5.6. Why you see? Yabani see. But who can you know? Na mekai o mantra as running mate.
Yes.
People are suffering.
I know.
Ghanaians are suffering.
Yes.
And you can. But in spite of Nyama Uchechi, say economy near better say Canadian. What it is, Sanya be say, as a month for be suit patches, people are suffering at a so. NABCO boy, it has its challenges, free SHS, all the challenges. One village, one dam, one district, one challenges.
Oh, yes.
Inti sa Nyama okay, Nipan people feel it.
Kwami, I think that as for challenges there, say there's any country in the world only challenges on anything. But the important thing is you do things to bring relief to people. When we came, for example, electricity prices, even under Dumso, were going up by 45% annually, average. Even under Dumso. What will be that? Dumso was there and we were increasing electricity prices, 45% on average. They had cancelled teacher training allowance. So the teachers were suffering. Households were suffering. They had cancelled nursing training allowance. They were suffering. The teachers were being paid 2 to 3 months for 2 to 3 years of work. So they were also suffering. So we had the NHIS became almost cash and carry. So people who were using the health system were suffering. Access to ambulance was not there, and many rural areas were suffering because basic infrastructure was not there. And people could not pay their children's school fees to go to school. So it created an environment of increased hardship. And when we came in, we are not saying we've eliminated hardship, but we have reduced it tangibly. So electricity prices have come down by about 11% cumulatively. I mean, 11%. NDC war, cumulatively, electricity went up by 265%, cumulatively. Free SHS Saba, it is helping reduce the suffering of our people. NABCO Aba, graduate unemployment is reducing. It is reduced. 100,000 people are being employed, and that is very, very important. The Zongo Development Fund is providing some infrastructure in Zongos today. One district, one factory is providing jobs. One village, one dam is providing water to farmers that need it, planting for food and jobs. And also, it's helping a lot of farmers across the country. And this is why when we say food production, it has gone up very significantly. And we are even exporting foods now rather than importing. And that is a major benefit to us. So we haven't eliminated suffering, but compared to before we have reduced it. And this is why we need to continue and continue to reduce it more. And that is what, inshallah, we want to do in our next term.
Ebiaka say, Nyamana Mudi Tumo Honoba Kunene say, Oba, Sidi no baby, Obi, Abechin dia Koma IGP. Na walokono.
I arresting.
But Sidi no still no. And shed especially against the US dollar.
Aye.
And yet to send ya Wokasa obey no.
Oh, actually.
And that's so Bajanas ha.
No. I think that I'm happy to say what this is our question here. Because you're running flexible exchange rate regime. You're fixed exchange rate regime. So exchange rate no there. Ever movie according to the market forces. But fundamentally, the exchange rate is going to be determined by your inflation rate, other things being equal. Or high inflation now, ubenya higher depreciation. Or lower inflation now, ubenya lower depreciation. That's the fundamental. So say we are going to arrest the CDR, and yes, we are going to lock it at one rate, but essentially lock it within the range of the fundamentals. Saying that the lower inflation rates will produce lower depreciation. We have 2013 to 2016, the exchange rate was depreciating at 18% on average, 18. Whereby 2016 to 2019 is 8.7% on average. And because we've come down to 2%, if you, but we are not going to add that yet, but you will see it even lower if we did it on a 4-year basis. But we are 18% versus 8%. So we have reduced, as I said, by more than 50% the rate of depreciation of the currency. If you said that your currency under the NDCR, the currency in terms of the dollar to the cedi, it was saying about $1 to 1 cedi. Okay, that time.
2009.
Around, that's right. It was almost $1 to 1 cedi yet the buyer. By the time they left office, Omugdi called what? 4 to 1. And yes, sir. So it was a quadrupling of the rate, of the nominal rate of the cedi. Exactly. About 9. Now, yeba from 4 no anka yeso yebe quadruple anka yebe ko 16 and yes sir. Yes, if we had moved at that sort of rate no anka yeko 16. So but where are we? 5 point something, almost 6 today, right? Instead of, if we had followed their trajectory, no ankana we are going, we would, within our term, we would have been talking about 16. But when you talk about depreciating at an exchange rate of about 8% on average, and you are having inflation around that amount, between 10 and so on, you have really performed well. Because the exchange rate is consistent with the fundamentals. It's consistent with inflation.
Okay, fundamentals, Makayo. If the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. One, okay.
I don't know. And
at this point, we are sure that the fundamentals are strong enough.
Yes, but in strong enough. Election year so far, August.
Yes.
And you have a depreciation of the currency of just around 2%. It's very remarkable. I mean, touch wood. Let's hope it stays that way. But it's really remarkable. I've not seen the exchange rate depreciation since 1992. Since 1992, be this low in an election year. I've not seen it. It's not in the data, and let's hope we continue to hold the fundamentals strong.
One thing we've all not seen also is COVID.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, who COVID did that until March this year started also. COVID obviously will affect it.
Oh, yes.
Revenues, the economy, and all of that.
Yeah.
COVID at the same way economy. So.
No, the way there, Santina, Minister for Finance, did in the mid-term review recently, because COVID, it has devastated the global economy. And yet Ghana
we are safe and
so when we say our exports will be affected, our imports would be affected, our revenues are declining. At the same time, our expenditures are costly. So the deficit will be increasing. And so the COVID has been very, very adverse to our progress. But as I keep saying, it has delayed what we wanted to do, but I don't think it has derailed it. And we believe that the programs that we are putting in place will allow us to recover relatively quickly from COVID in terms of its impact on the economy. We are quite optimistic on that, but the impact on the economy has been adverse, no doubt about that.
So it's delayed but not derailed.
That's right.
After COVID,
Yeah.
That is assuming there will be anything like after COVID. But COVID ni brasia. Yeah, sure say by some na yetimi asuso nyoma mu kakra.
Nyame adom, because when we say COVID, it has revealed a few things, and say Nana Akufo-Addo all can Ghana beyond aid, Ghana beyond aid, Ghana beyond aid. COVID by you say this is the time for the practical implementation of Ghana beyond aid, because we are now PPEs, personal protective equipment, mask na dear. Yeni were hospitals. Now you say this is the time to stop importing those that we can make here. Now you make it, so there is a lot of the PPEs are here domestically. So domestic production is very, very important. So we are looking at that side in terms of producing things internally. When we put in our manifesto, try and focus on made in Ghana products, and in terms of government procurement, let's focus on made in Ghana. Let's produce here and let us manufacture here. So there is a lot of thinking, and thankfully for Ghana, we were already on that march towards the Ghana Beyond Aid vision. And with COVID, it is only going to accelerate our march towards the Ghana Beyond Aid. So when we hear industrialization now, 1D, 1F is already in place. We are ahead of many countries in Africa on that. In terms of the industrialization directive, the automotive industry is coming into stream and coming in on its own. So VW, Kantanka, Woho, all of these, Toyota is coming. So yeah, building automotive industry to come in and help us along with other industry. We're trying to also add value to our bauxite. And by the end of this year, I think you will choose a partner for us on the bauxite to begin the integration of the bauxite and aluminium industry. We are doing the same for iron and steel. So the areas the core post-COVID, they've already been identified. We're already on the march towards it, but we just now have to entrench it and accelerate it kakra.
Just a union in tentem kakra.
No.
But some real workers say COVID amaye and sika sem so ahana kakra ni ade no. Some reason you say abano nyoma bebre free meals. Ye ma school kola aduane, ye tua school fees, ye say year of roads, yeah, nyoma bebre.
Yeah.
Na obi say scan wa hin. Ma nipa bebre fi say anase adwen kire say aban no bobosia dodo. Na ebi e bosia ne ye bo ade ye sa nyoma we. Na dachi ye bebre. It looks like we're borrowing now, and I say no. Going forward, yeah, scan free.
Well, fundamentally, Anka, to me, even if you go to try to borrow and your fundamentals are not right, nobody will give you the money. Santina, we hear 2014, the credibility of the government was very, very low. So they ended up IMF for a bailout, all right, because they couldn't get to the market to borrow. So young fundamentals, as I have said, when you look at the fiscal, you look at the monetary, you look at the external sector and the real sector, your fundamentals were in a much stronger position. And that stronger fundamental position has allowed us, say, to weather the storm much better. That's what I'm saying, that if you have an economy that could not pay teacher training allowance, how could they have given free water? They wouldn't have been able to give free water. They couldn't have been able to reduce electricity by 50%. They wouldn't have been able to give the meals that we have given, and so on. So the expenditures are undertaken. We are protecting lives and livelihoods. Because you have to look at the economy and you have to look at lives and livelihoods. The president has said that his number one priority is to protect the lives and livelihoods of Ghanaians. Once that is done, as for the economy, we know how to fix it, he said, but we don't know how to bring anybody back to life. So when you come in and you have your children at home, you are using electricity, you are using water. In this COVID, you have to keep washing your hands, but you are not at work, you are not earning, but we are asking you to stay at home. What do? We have to cushion you. So you protect the livelihoods. Say, this few months you will not pay water bill. Or this few months, if you are a lifeline consumer, untia electricity bill. And all of that. So then the health workers, you cushion them with allowances and tax reliefs and all of that. And the business people, we provided almost 750 million Ghana cedis because a lot of businesses were hurting to do that. But those expenditures were necessary expenditures to cushion our people and to cushion the economy. And this is why when you are in management of economy, when you save for the bad times as well. And we are in a much stronger position to make these expenditures. And by the way, who say, without making some of these expenditures, you would have been seeing a collapsing economy, because that is really the alternative, where we will all be collapsing. But we are making sure that we use the resources to protect lives, to protect livelihoods, and by the grace of God, once this thing blows over, we will be able to get moving again the way we were already moving.
Your Excellency, we're using these resources to protect lives, to protect property, and all of that.
Yes.
But at what cost? Will all of this not come back and bite us one day? And for how long can we continue like this?
Well, the whole issue we raise, is essentially about sustainability.
Sustainability.
That is all that you're saying.
Say you beat me a kuremusi ya.
That is what economic management is about. Say in the year 2000, Ghana's total debt was around $9 billion dollars. In the year 2000, that $9 billion debt, a deal called HIPIC, at that time, inflation was around 40%. Interest rates were in that range. Exchange rate depreciation was around 49%. In that, just a $9 billion debt got us into that position, right? Today, you are having a debt stock of over $200 billion.
Dollars?
No, Ghana cedis.
Cedis.
Yeah, okay. Ghana cedis, right? We inherited a debt of about $122 billion. But if you look at the rate of increase in the debt stock between 2016 and 2019, is the lowest in the decade. Between 2016 and 2019, if you include the banking sector bailout, you have an increase in the debt stock of 9.3%. If you exclude the banking sector bailout, it's at 3.9%. Between 2008 and 2012, the rate of increase of the debt stock was 49%. 49. 2012-2016 was 19%. Then for 2016-2019, we are talking about 3.9% if you exclude the banking sector bailout, or 9.3% if you include it. So there's a lot of prudence, notwithstanding the higher debt levels, but these levels are within a sustainable framework, even though we have to manage it. You're seeing inflation coming down. You're seeing the exchange rate being stable. You're seeing external.
But as I say, COVID inflation across Kaka.
Yes. We were around about 8%, 7.9 to 8%. So say 11%, and that is understandable within that context. And this is why Mika say, notwithstanding that, you will see, say, the macro fundamentals are in a much better shape than one would have expected. And that's because we were already in a strong position.
Interesting. What about crisis, banking and financial crisis? That is one area that Nipa Bibri Ehukai, Abainankasa Hokai, individuals, companies, organizations, livelihoods. To start off with, banking crisis, he said, why didn't we just let it ride? I didn't hear Sadi.
Hey, Kwami.
Yes, sir.
Let it ride here.
I said,
Agyemang.
Nipa Bebre Pache said their lives were moving on. Omo young Juma, omo okay. Inti banking financial and idea which anaba.
Usheka muna driver no or the kwehia. But now Tihosa say everything is going well. Next thing you know, you are jumping over the cliff when you're accident. But let us go back to the beginning. Banking crisis is very sad because the previous government were fully aware, say there was a problem.
They were?
Fully aware, say no problem was in terms of the financial sector and the banking sector. 2015, IMF Asset Quality Review. 2015. And it showed major problems in the banking sector. I spoke about it sometime in 2015. And Mika said we have 8 banks which could collapse if nothing is done about it. A former president, in his State of the Nation address in 2016, pointed to the problems, especially in the microfinance sector. Even under their tenure, 82 microfinance institutions collapsed. 82, including DKM. So there were such bad practices of governance and the management of these institutions. We had to step in because some of the banks were set up without any capital. They just lied their way to setting up the bank. They moved money here, showed it to the central bank. Central bank gave them the license. Then they moved the money out. And they were using central bank liquidity support for other purposes rather than reviving these banks. So when we say by the time we got into office, things were really unraveling. And the new management at the central bank decided to rescue because we were on the brink, really on the brink of a collapse of the system. And so they had to move quickly to rescue the financial system. And that is why they revoked the licenses, I think, of about 9 banks or so, and 23 savings and loans, and over 300 microfinance institutions. And that act is one of the most important acts that have been done to save our economy. Kwami,
yes, sir.
You had depositors, 4.6 million depositors, whose monies were at stake. 4.6 million. Kwami, can you imagine, say pay 4.6 million people who lose their deposits completely? Can you imagine? Like the 82 that had already lost, 82 depositors of the 82 financial institutions that had collapsed before, who were not paid. We were on the brink of losing the deposits of 4.6 million people. Intina, the rescue plan was implemented, and you had to essentially rationalize the banking system and make sure that the deposits were saved. And so those deposits were saved. At the end of the day, government has had to expend, close to 21 billion in the financial sector to save these deposits.
Was it that bad?
It was, Kwame. When I saw the numbers at the time, it was quite frightening.
The reason I'm asking was it that bad is because some have said that we could have handled it better. We could have found ways to go around it without people losing their jobs and
but
all
Kwame,
of that.
wait there, it doesn't make sense because we were trying to handle it. That was how it was being done before as a country. They were being given support to try to keep them afloat.
Liquidity support.
Liquidity support, but it wasn't being used for the right purpose. And when you have people who have mismanaged banks and they don't have the capital and they've missed all the supervisory regulatory ratios that are required, it's not new that you close the banks, but you make sure that the customers' deposits are safe. So you move them, which in this case, they move them to GCB and Consolidated Bank for the most part.
Also 2015 as a 2014 IMF, World Bank, Nina can say banking crisis, it's on our hands.
Yeah.
I'm penny Sabreno, so can wasem. I didn't the Bank of Ghana ain't taking action at the time. How about more Bank of Ghana, Juma?
Yeah.
You've been deputy governor before. I didn't know Juma, I was saw somewhere in 1 year. And how come says I did buy Ubia as a Bank of Ghana?
I think there have been some reforms at the Bank of Ghana as a result. And I think that they have been very, very strong in looking at financial sector and putting in certain governance protocols so that what happened, the AC, in CBM. That is what the Bank of Ghana has done, both internally and externally. But you are right, say some of the blame has to be at the feet of the bank in terms of our supervisory oversight, the bank's supervisory oversight, and then you are also dealing with the situation of the banks themselves, who were to a large extent presenting very false and misleading reports to the central bank about the state of their data, their records, their financial records. Very misleading reports, as we've seen. So we are moving forward to do it. Right now, as you know, that there is still the issue of some of the savings and loans and microfinance companies that have not yet been paid. The depositors. The banks have been paid, but what we want to ensure is equality of treatment between what we have done for the bank customers and what we have to do for the savings and loans and no more any for microfinance customers. So I'm happy to say that so far, as at yesterday, I am informed that the liquidity has now been raised to take care of all the savings and loans and the microfinance companies. So I think that the receiver is going to go ahead starting this week to make payments to these groups like DKM customers and so on. It is very, very important that that process begin, and we hope it will be completed very soon.
Your Excellency, talking about payment, Nipa Bisu or Home Patch say Omanpenyi Nanado Dankwe Kufado ka say Ibitio Muka. A chill tell see you two biaka. In so be patches of Monsanka Musika.
Aye.
Ebisu patches say, Mamma Muscan Fiambi. And I can say a bonds. Bondo so dear, Sabe, and tear school fees in toilet electricity in Torre. Yes,
sir. As I'm not say, 98% of depositors, Omusa Aka Omusika. That's what the receiver tells us. 98%.
Omusika 100%.
Yes.
And I say Sikane bond.
Well, I think that there's a mix of the two.
Okay.
Sikane bond so but I think that 98% have gotten. But the bond is just basically an acknowledgement of an obligation to you. So the government may not have enough cash, but tells you that I owe you, right? So we will give you that money. But that gives you comfort compared with someone telling you have lost your deposits. So, but what we are doing now, the savings and loans and microfinance, what is being raised, I think they are going to try to pay them in cash. And what we are hoping to do also is to try to restructure those bonds so that we can give them liquidity rather than the bond. So that is also work in progress. Ministry of Finance and Bank of Ghana should be working on as well.
Well, interesting, in case you just tuned in, we have in the studio the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Mahamudu Bawumia, and you are live on Peace FM and UTV, that is United Television. Mr. Vice President, digitization. Hey, Bibia, I say, first of all, it's us we're journey from economics to digitization. As I buy an economy, boom, you found solace in digitization. What is this thing about digitization? Where do you
digitization, no, say economies, no, it's systems that make the difference. If you are relying on individuals, you have problems. But you want to build systems so that the systems deliver services. So, in fact, after 2008 election,
yes,
I spent some time at Oxford and I wrote a book on monetary policy. And in the book, because I was thinking through a lot of what had happened in terms of Ghana's economic history and what we needed to do. And then it was clear to me that there are certain things that have to be in place in any economy for that economy to be able to do the things that you see in many developed economies. And we did not have them in place. But the IMF will not come and tell you to put them in place if you don't put them in place yourself. So we had to look for the things that we could, and then technology. So you want to provide these things. We didn't have a national ID. Now, if you don't have a national ID, it means you don't uniquely identify people. So when people go to the bank to borrow, you cannot tell their credit history. And so they'll give higher interest rates. You don't have an address system. So, Oko banker, so you have a higher risk category. Now, more higher interest rates so account. So what we saw was that if you use the technology that is available, you can digitize systems and make the service delivery much more efficient. And when you digitize systems, you essentially are able to increase your revenue. And that is because we are moving into a digital economy.
Yes.
Globally. So if as a country you are not ready for that digital economy, you'll be left behind. So there's no issue of leaving economics behind and doing digitization. They are really two sides of the same thing that we are trying to do. So you build your digital infrastructure and leverage on that digital infrastructure to transform the economy. So as you see, Kwami, the national ID aba NDC omo 8 years they couldn't issue the national ID card, even though President Kufuor brought it on board in 2008. They came in up to 2016. We couldn't get it done. But you now have over 14 million people who have been enrolled onto the national ID cards. And, by the end of the year, we expect at least 16 million people will have national ID cards. That is a game changer in our economy. It's a real game changer. So everybody, and we are going to link it with births and deaths registry. So you will get a national ID number right from birth, and then we will go on. So the uniqueness of identity is very, very important for the management of the economy, right? So to say you're going to have the national ID card, and that will immediately give us an opportunity to convert all the national ID card numbers to TIN numbers. So right now, if you look at our tax base, we are looking at around less than 3 million TIN numbers in Ghana since independence. Less than 3 million in a population of 30 million people. Less than 3 million tax identification numbers. So the economy is largely informal. Now, from January, the work has started anyway. We've put together a team to do this conversion. Hopefully from January, we are going to convert every national ID number to become your TIN number as well. So immediately you will be able to move from 3 million less to about 16 million.
Into no BIABEBA database no.
A BIABEBA database no. So it really formalizes the economy in a very big way. The same with your national health insurance.
But national ID, you start here and you call back and forth, you call me a question, then it's say, we know you beat me a year, it's only say, ye crown and home complaints near who did they near.
Yeah, but I think that it is pretty much done. We have 16 million. The next phase that they are going to go, the district offices will continue. Then they will go to the schools to register the children and all of that. So there's clear commitment, and we've pretty much done half the job so far. So it will be done fully. In fact, exactly. This is now the next. The next phase is the linkages. That we will link the national ID to GRA, to NHIS, to SNIT. We will doing it next year by the grace of God. When we say NHIS, now they say they won't issue separate NHI cards because it can be put on the NIA card, and then you can do it. So,
Mr. Vice President, also even next year by the grace of God. Now, next year, then NHS will be Vice President.
Let me say by the grace of God. So by the grace of God. The next thing I hear after national ID, digital address system. Again, it solves a major problem, and because of the use of the digital addresses, everywhere in Ghana now has a digital address. So see, we are working with the Land Use and Spatial Planning Authority. They've generated over 4 million unique addresses, and by November, every property in Ghana will have a unique address.
By November this year?
Yes, and then we will begin next month. The 4 million that have been generated, the plates, the number plates, they will start printing them, and we'll start affixing them to those houses that have been generated. But by November, they would have done every place. And also, there are certain streets that have not got names. They are also they are naming them, and we're putting them to the MMDCs to confirm and all of that. But you are going to have a completely working national property addressing system. Unique, what we've decided that we need to go for unique addresses for each house or each property. And that is what is going to be done. The street name, the street number, and then the house number and the digital address. That's what is going to be on the plate for every household. And they're starting with the printing of the 4 million now, and then we'll continue. But by November, we'll have all of this done, and it will just be left with the printing, which we'll do. So we've done the digital address system, and this is something we've not had since independence, and digitization has allowed us to do so. So e-commerce, and one who say Ghana Post, they have revived. Because now you can deliver letters to houses with guess the Ghana Post GPS address. No more we've revived Ghana Post. You free mobile money interoperability. And this is one of the proudest things that we have done. Mobile money interoperability, it means that to me, Manisika or Vodafone, you can send to MTN customer and so on. But the other part of it, they say you have made the bank account and the mobile money wallet interoperable. So you can move money between the bank account and the mobile money wallet and vice versa. And you can also do the same with the eSwitch account. So triangular interoperability. And Kwami, this is the first country in Africa to do so. There's no other country in Africa that has been able to deliver mobile money interoperability. And that has
Africa,
well, Kwami, it's not easy to do. Me call Stanford University Business School a year or so ago. Me call my lecture on a seminar on what Ghana has done, and one of the professors was amazed. Obisa, how did you get to do mobile money interoperability? Because the players don't tend to like to cooperate. It takes a lot of cooperation because they are all protecting their turf, whether it's the banks, whether it's the telcos, and so on. They are all protecting their turf. The fintechs, they're all. But in Ghana, we've been very lucky with the fintechs, the telcos, the banks. We brought them all together. But once we've done that, Kwami.
Yes, sir.
Since 2018, mobile money interoperability, Ghana has now become the fastest growing mobile money market in Africa. The fastest growing. And it is just very remarkable. Today, Kwami, mobile money transactions as of 2019 was 200 million transactions. 200 million. Not money, but number of transactions.
Number of transactions.
Right? If you look at bank transactions for 2019, it was 599,000.
Mobile money is the thing.
Is now, it has been turned on its head now. Mobile money is more used than your traditional bank. The banking transactions are only 3% of the total.
Interestingly, sir, interoperability, now how much did they cost? No, anybody saying?
Interoperability, let me tell you, there was a contract.
No contract order, okay.
To do the interoperability. And that contract was to be done for $1.2 billion.
$1.2 billion.
Yes, that was the contract that was being executed or supposed to be executed. But at the end of the day, we looked at it. I think it was very clear that there were certain conditions precedent that had not yet been satisfied. The Bank of Ghana terminated the contract. And instead of spending $1.2 billion to do mobile interoperability, we spent $4.5 million.
How come?
Because it was value for money. Instead of, because they could...
Now, scope of work in BBI is the same thing.
Sorry?
Scope of work in BBI is the same thing.
Pretty much. I think it's even bigger because of what has been done. We refreshed a lot of the equipment. And as I said, right now, we are the leading country in Africa on mobile money interoperability. Nobody has done what we've done. And we're able to do it for $4.5 million. Not even $10 million, but they were charging us $1.2 billion to do this. And we saved over $1 billion just on mobile money interoperability.
In the abrogated contract, did we pay them anything?
No, I think that from what I gather, they were not. They took us to arbitration in London. And I don't think they've been able to prove their case in London. I think the Bank of Ghana had a very strong case.
A foreign company and a local company?
I think it was a local company.
$1.2 billion.
Aye.
Interoperability in our car say, yes, so account baby say over 16 million Ghanaians have a bank account.
That's what say. And now, Kwami, say banking is now branchless banking. A bank account, no, and you say uko a dime bimuna wako open a bank account ubi yisi kana wako ako choro check na to say banking is taking place on mobile phones. And so in mobile money interoperability, it means that even if you have a mobile money account, ubetime trade sika akogo bank account mo. Ubetime ama no sika from a bank account into your mobile wallet. So where you use a current account in a bank, you can use your mobile account the same way. You can make payments, you can receive payments. Mobile wallet so it meets your interest so on your balances. So the use or the possession, given mobile money interoperability, and which is Ghana is the only country in Africa, the only country. In Ghana, if you have a mobile money account, is as good as a bank account. In Kenya, if you have a mobile money account, it is not as good as a bank account, even though it can come close, but because you don't have that interoperability. In Tina, Yaka say, if you look at the mobile money customers and you will see that the number of people with bank accounts have gone up very significantly. And that is a credit to what the government of Nana Akufo-Addo is doing. And that is financial inclusion. And because of this mobile money interoperability, we are now able to digitize a lot of government services. So passport, is online, which we are, DVLA, the same thing. You use your mobile money, you can pay. So all across, because of mobile money interoperability, and in fact, we have Ministry of Finance has put together a platform called Ghana.gov. It has started operation Ghana.gov platform. We are bringing all the government institutions onto one platform. So whatever you are looking for from a government institution, you can go to that Ghana.gov platform. We are starting with a few agencies, but by early next year, we hope to onboard all the government agencies. So that is the place where you can easily make payments, apply for permits, and all of that. One-stop shop for access to government services. It is going to be quite revolutionary for us in Ghana, and we, other countries like Rwanda have it, where you have one stop where if you go, you can go and apply for a passport, or if you're looking for a GRA, you go there and so on. We've piloted it, and it is showing us, Kwami, it's very interesting that you are seeing major increases in revenue when you go digital. Major increase, sometimes 3 to 4 times of revenue when you go digital.
Because the human to human is cut out. The
human is cut out. You, unfortunately for my Guru boys, the digitization has cut them out, right? So people can sit at home and apply for things and pay, and so revenues are going up.
Revenues are going up, Mr. Vice President. Now, remember back to interoperability. I mean, from baby Sassem. Main opponent, National Democratic Congress Party, is interoperability. Mobile be any BB or now. I want you to show.
The point is.
I want you to show, and then to my question, which is, okay, say over 200 million transactions. Are we taxing mobile money because we have mobile money at Tuska?
Yeah.
No government revenue bill.
No, the point is that you are not taxing mobile money, and it is for me my view and that we should not tax mobile money, because mobile money transactions, a lot of the people who are using these transactions are very poor people. Someone will get sent 5 CDs on mobile money. Why would you want to tax that? But we want to increase economic activity and the use of that mobile money. So, if you pay for a government service and you pay by mobile money, like you go to a tourist site, you go to Cape Coast or wherever and go to a castle, you pay directly by mobile money, the money will go straight into the account of government,
yes.
Right? The alternative is to give someone the cash. You don't know how much of it will end up into the account of government. Even sometimes on our toll roads, you go to Tema motorway, you pay some tolls, you are not sure how much of it actually ends. But if you do digitize those payments, suddenly you will see revenue going up. And the research, the empirical evidence generally shows that when you digitize, economic activity goes up. Because Kwami, one of the things that we have just introduced, say, roll it out, universal QR code, right? QR, and it's a quick response code, means that we've introduced it. It's now going to be rolled out, but it means that all merchants can now receive money on their mobile phone. You don't need a point of sale device, which is very expensive. Exactly. The QR code is started. I mean, if you go places like the banks, Eco Bank, and so on. But we are now moving to a universal QR code so that they are all using the same standards. So, Nancy, I've heard that Antimony Wache has been signed on to universal QR code. The people in Makola we are going to get everybody to sign up, because it means that you can pay, even Trotro, you can pay directly from your mobile phone, and they'll get it directly into their account. So it is what I'm saying, Kwame said. What we have done in Ghana is so remarkable, because all of this is now in place. It's not like we want to do it. It has been done. We just now have to roll it out. And from September going, I think when all the pieces are in place by the banks and the telcos, you begin to see a massive rollout of the universal QR code, which means, Kwame said, if Ghana really wants to go cashless, we have the equipment, we have the architecture to go cashless. And if everybody, receive, even Shoeshine Boy can have his QR code. And you can just pay with your mobile phone directly into the account of the Shoeshine Boy. And that is it. So we have now got an architecture said here, go cashless. We can go cashless very quickly. And this has been done. Kwame, we've launched it, and now we are going to roll it out in a big way. Banks like EcoBank have rolled it out. The fintechs are on board. The telcos are coming on board. And this is the unique nature of Ghana. We are bringing all of these people on board to get this done. And so I expect, say, in the next year or two, you're going to see such a different space in the retail area as the QR code is really rolled out in a massive way in our markets and across various retail enterprises.
Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Mahamudu Bawumia, my guest this morning. Kokroko Peace 104.3. Now, Vice President, about digitization. So talking about digitization, you can catch us on Facebook, Peace 104.3 FM, Peace FM Online, UTV Ghana, and also on the Vice President's own Facebook page, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. For those of you who want to plug into YouTube, check out Despite Media. And live on Hello FM, Kumasi, Samson Kwami Nyameche, and Hello FM for Kumasi Funile Chamu Anope, and over 50 radio stations nationwide. We're also live on UTV, United Television Inti. There are so many avenues to me and Chibiam Bibisa Omampenya Bedi about infrastructure. Ne and sem but answer a bit drew hono the infrastructure wars will come. But I like to do a quick check on 1V, 1D, 1D, 1F. Amongst others, and then also your biggest crop, Fititama Mofra, our Ghana high cocoa. It is saying, how's the cocoa sector, how's the cocoa industry doing?
Well, cocoa industry has faced some challenges. I think that there's no doubt at all that the output is not as high as we have. There have been challenges, people replacing cocoa with other crops, disease, and so on. I think there's been some challenges, but we expect what we have done is to negotiate a living income differential for cocoa farmers, which we did. Ivory Coast some phone say you an additional call it what bonus or living income differential of $400 per metric ton to every cocoa farmer. And I think that starting in October this cocoa season. So this coming cocoa season. So once that starts, I think it is going to inject a lot of energy into the cocoa sector. And it should really help the industry.
The cocoa sector would be better than it is.
No doubt.
Well, so cocoa for because minim say ora boahine do nom eye
adwuma
cocoa board
so yebenya no humfa so from October a living income differential of $400 per ton for cocoa.
And here sankita hodie ye Cote d'Ivoire no you bet me this one. Is this sustainable? Can we do it?
Well, it is being said a negotiation with the buyers now, and so the negotiation
okay
is done. So the agreement is there, and they just require that these monies are paid to the farmers, and the government should not be the one collecting this differential. And I think that is also very good for us because it should go to the farmers. So you bet me I do so.
You bet me this so Raboahine do fifi boa for nom you see bet me this so dia vice president account osimu ye adwuma ne fei nya aka no munye nemra
I know
ne fan queening. And to my very own classmate Eric Daddy Amengo out there cocoa board, I hope that this good news on cocoa will make you guys feel good. Vice President, one village, one dam. Sir, maybe yes, it was what we say 570 dams.
570, yes, 570. Almost 57 constituencies in the northern region. 5 northern regions. And so the idea was to say 10 dams each constituency. So that was the target, 570. But of course, some of the constituencies are also a bit urban, and so you may not be able to get 10 dams in those, like you go to Tamale Central and so on. So, but at the moment, let me give you a little bit of a background. I think when we were campaigning in 2016, or before we did our manifesto for 2016, na me were Upper West, Cabo, Madam for Minya Cabo. Abaifa Cabo. They were Upper West. Now, some old women, no more digging what looked like a dam, but they were really doing it with their hands, pretty much hand job. And so, no more kasa. And we were at the end of the day, we're wondering how they should be suffering so much just to try to create. And the problem for them was water during the dry season, So we thought that we could have small dams across all over so that they could have access to water during the dry season. And that was part of the beginning of One Village, One Dam concept. So far, we have awarded a total of about 435 One Village, One Dam contracts that are ongoing. Out of that, 372 have been completed and 63 are ongoing. That's what the data tells us. So there's been a lot of good progress in the One Village, One Dam.
Ebiswaka say enya dam. A dugout, a BB fien be in Amoye, and a biwa insuno are, and the farmers do not have use for it.
That's completely false.
How do we address that?
No, that's completely false. I think people have gone to look at it. In fact, recently, I think Omampenyi Dada Kase, One Village, One Dam, it hasn't materialized. It hasn't materialized, but there was a documentary. I don't know if it's a GBC or what documentary almost called Bole, his own constituency, and 10 dams were functional. And people are using these dams for irrigation and so on. And they are very, very useful. And there were talks about how it had saved communal fights over water in the constituency. Fulani headsmen, the fight over water is very, very high in the north. It's very, very serious. And so these dams are providing water. And you should know that some people use even tube wells to irrigate farms and so on. So as one village, one dam, it abua for pa, and then people who need water for their cattle, to wash clothes, to build houses, and so on during the dry season. No, it has really helped a lot, and I have followed the testimonies of various farmers across the north. If you sit in Accra, you may not understand what the impact of these dams are. You have to go down and then see it. Of course, it's part of a strategy that you are providing water. It's a three-pronged strategy. The small dams, some of the medium dams, like the Tono Dam, which we have rehabilitated for the first time in 40 years. Tono has been rehabilitated.
Fully, is it operational?
Yeah. Tono is operational. And then you have, others like Via and Bontanga, which we are going to work on. But the most important irrigation project that we have put in place in the north is the Pualugu Dam. This is the one that is almost $1 billion and is going to provide irrigation for at least 24,000 hectares. Currently, we have public irrigable land in Ghana of 13,000 hectares. So Pualugu is going to virtually double what we have, in addition to the flood control and electricity. So it's the biggest investment of any government in northern Ghana since independence.
Do you have any start here?
I think we cut the sword for Pualugu a few months ago. Well, they should be started.
It's only say ebi wo ho a obeka say ya cut sword. Nah, we do the fanfare.
Yes,
but
yes.
You go back a year later and nothing is happening.
So we'll keep our eye on it. We'll keep our eye on it.
How about One District, One Factory?
Oh, One District, One Factory is a successful program. It's a very successful program, as you know.
Some have said more backward. It doesn't cover One District, One Factory, really.
Well, the One District, One Factory, as you know, Honorable Alan Chairman always says that you don't build a factory overnight. It takes time, and we have done a lot. Right now, under the One District, One Factory, 76 factories are operational under that scheme. Of this, 28 of them are new factories that have been set up, factories like the Casaropa and Kumfi Juice and all of that. Those are factories that are new, that have been set up. There are others, which are about 48 of them, which are also being, which are existing companies that have been supported to do 1D, 1F because of their need for higher capital.
Some have said you therefore cannot call them as 1D, 1F because any government there, any abayno na yama o mayno, and you'll be private business and I would do sika question.
Anka business no ebegua, and then you've gone in to help it survive. It is part of a program, but the important thing is to be able to distinguish between what was already existing that you have supported and what is new. That is just transparency. So the data will allow you to distinguish that. It's important that we report what is happening. And there are so much more that is happening. ADB supporting 58 youth enabled factories in terms of processing and so on. So there's a lot that is going on in the 1D, 1F area. And I think that as you go through to the next term, we will see a lot more of these which are in the pipeline come to fruition.
So, Vice President, you seem to have a lot of faith in the next term. It's as if it's almost a foregone conclusion.
Oh no, I said It cannot be a foregone conclusion. I'm not going to say we are in a comfortable lead. We are going to work at it and ask for the mandate of the good people of Ghana.
Vice President of the Republic, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, and Waha Anope, I in the Chichin Como, away Kokro, Jumediano, so na Senia Midi can say, what do we feed to her at a piece 104.3, a sound so away UTV live, and right, you know, Facebook, no, wait me, I could Peace FM 104.3, Peace FM online, UTV Ghana, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia on Wankasani Facebook page or home, YouTube for our Despite Media, Hello FM will come and say, UTV and over 50 radio stations across Ghana. Dr. Bawumia, maybe sa asem back home. Me Kayi me maye tutu a research bi mami on fuel price wars those days. Saturday, 16th May 2015. Abaya it is so NDC Abaya. Samren President John Dramani Mahama and
2015.
2015, okay. Saturday, 16th May.
Okay.
The government then announced a 9% increase in fuel prices.
Aye.
Samreno, now we are running mate. And now we are campaign. And as somehow kind any quote, I don't think that there's any doubt now that the current NDC government is the most incompetent, uncaring, and corrupt we've ever seen. The government has thrown all responsible feelings to the dogs and gone ahead to increase fuel prices. Unquote. Then running mate Bawumia. And the fuel prices are costly.
Yeah, so...
And so, Obibeka, hypocrisy, dishonesty, what are you doing for political capital? The fuel price wars. Oh,
yes, but I think
that... Are you also incompetent? Uncaring, unfeeling? Have you also thrown all reasonable feelings to the dogs?
Kwami,
yes, sir.
I stand by those statements, those words, in the first place. But I think that let's put this in context, Wati. Because we had a government that put us through 4 years of doomsday. That is very, very difficult for businesses, for individuals, for the productivity of the nation as a whole. Yeda sunsumo, 4 years of doomsday. Right?
Yes, sir.
Through this doomsday, increases in electricity prices were still taking place, on average of 45% every year, even though we had doomsday. In addition to this, you had electricity price increases. Whoa. Right? 45% in addition to this. In addition to this, increase in electricity.
Yes.
Right? In doomsday, teacher training allowances were cancelled. Nursing training allowances were cancelled. That is very, very insensitive in that context. Then, in addition to that, you had higher increases in taxes on everything, including condoms. They increased the taxes. Teachers who had worked for 2 to 3 years were given 3 months of their allowances, right? So we had a situation very, very clearly. High unemployment, people could not find jobs, they had frozen because of the IMF conditionalities. The NHIS was collapsing. You are moving to a cash and carry system. So the suffering of the people, the hardships of the people were very, very clear. And on top of all of this, we are increasing fuel prices as well. Now, if you look at the product 30%. Between 2013 and 2016, average increases of 24%. Then between 2017 and 2019, average increases of 13.5%. So we have increased at about half, less than half what they have done, what they did. So it's a complete difference. But not only did we increase fuel prices, that is fine, but we have brought at a much lower rate. In addition to that, we reduced electricity prices. We restored teacher training allowance. We restored nursing training allowance. We changed that. We paid the teachers arrears from the 2 to 3 months one. We cancelled that policy. We've restored the NHIS back from the cash and carry state that it was in. We brought NAPCO to cushion graduate unemployment. So if you take it in context, the management of the economy generally and the provision to cushion people from hardships allowed the country to bear this increase in the fuel price, the lower increase in the fuel price, much better. Of course, we are talking about a 13.5 increase on average by us, but much better. We were able to bear it much better as a nation and as households than what they had we had to bear under their 30% and 24% average increases.
Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, answer na yemama numsio kakra, but answer be numsio kakra no. Ye numsio ni wie ba pe ye ni be ko Cape Coast. Ye be ko hwe ni manifesto. Any aeroplane dia oba bi sie. Any se ne ankofo bi se sebe adwen etachire no ento asom ye be hwe eno akabat answer na ye be ko manifesto no. Yemfa Vice President enku Kumasi. Baby okoye ne town hall meeting na ye papa Alhaji Gusa kai okodwendwan nanum. Mr. Vice President, oko Kumasi town hall meeting and some bebre wo ho a odi tudwa ho na infrastructure war no started titru pa adwen etachire bi kan say when ni nokre sebe when ni me die ma sebe say asem na kan when ni nokre titru fa infrastructure home Kwami Nkrumah interchange be mu interchanges near ho asem ni nyina ebem and which near many be projects over 17,000 projects the two just same way no ebi akwa ye nhwehwemu patche say ebi nya nokre for example Kanda die you say Kanda water system bi am say eye ongoing ko he ne abandon be 2 years you ko he ba ko adente say astrutef say ni adente Madina it says in some no edosum and no echi so you share National Democratic Congress aye main opponent in Ibabetuya ompache say niamani bi wo ho a odi tudwa enye nokre oma list niamani bibre ewo omo press conference omo yemu amampen ebedi echi ase me kabia or say the claim of a 10-seater WC toilet in a Sikuma Domi Brakwa does not exist. 10-seater Sikuma is a lie. We come from NDC document room. The claim about an ongoing construction 6-seater toilet block St. Thomas Senior High School, as Samanke say, is nothing like that is on the ground. Construction of a 12-unit classroom block for Pentecost SHS at Ekropong, no project like that exists. Almost your mania so far, almost I'm say 26. A patch say, and 70 more car. How do you respond to this?
Thank you very much, Kwami.
Yes, sir.
It's very important, say, we understand. I'm going to give you the broad view of what we are doing.
Yes, sir.
And then I'll address specifically the question. Who say, by what we have done in the last infrastructure town hall is to try to bring transparency and accountability to the whole discussion on infrastructure. So we set about to put together the delivery tracker right? The delivery tracker.
Delivery tracker.
The delivery tracker, no, there are two aspects of that website. The first is our promises, which we did in the Kumasi Town Hall. So if you go to the delivery tracker, you will see what we have done, what we promised, what we have, the status of that promise. And then the second part of it, infrastructure, right? And in the delivery tracker on infrastructure, we have put together what we have done across all 260 districts to allow people, everybody, whether you are in Ghana or outside Ghana, to check for yourself, right? This is the first time it has ever happened in Ghana. And Ghana is the first country in Africa to do this. No other country has done this. It's only Ghana that has done it. And this is usually the thing that you will try to get help from people abroad and so on to come and do for you. But we've done it in Ghana by ourselves. The only country in Africa to do it. And me, when I gave the lecture and I demonstrated the website, and I made it very clear that this is going to be a live website. We will update it as we go along. But the information provides an opportunity for everybody to check. It's not like you've just come and stated, say, I have done so many school blocks, or we are showing you at the micro level where each of these things are. So the MMDCs submit all this data, and then we input them. Sometimes you may have in the inputting, instead of Bono East or whatever, Bono, they may change the place where it is, and then someone will point that out to you, and you'll make amends, for example. So one of the things that we should be proud of as a country, very proud of, is this website. It's the only country in Africa that has it, right? That you can go and check and see what government is doing for you. It has not happened before in our country. Now, the NDC, they should go and put a similar website together.
They are not in power.
Oh, no, but you don't need to be in power to you say you have done it. You have been there. You don't need to be in power. We could have done this work without being in power. It's just work. You have the data. Because they keep telling us, they are not in power, but they can tell us they've done 2,000 this and 2,000 that. That means they have the data. I'm challenging them to just put this on the website, and we can interrogate this data district by district. Kwami, I tell you, they cannot do it because a lot of the projects they talk about do not exist.
They say some of yours do not exist.
Well, this is what I'm saying, that I'll come to this in a moment. But I challenge them to do it. It's good to criticize, but it's more important to also show what you have done. They cannot show what they have done at this level of detail. They haven't been able to. So, but I asked them, maybe they can take the next 2 weeks, they should put it out. And then we can also interrogate, right? Now, you've pointed out that almost say 26 projects
so far
are not existing. Now, we will interrogate that list because, sometimes they are very economical with the truth. And I'm putting it mildly. So we will interrogate that list and see, because I've heard my assistant telling me that they have projects like Benjamin Kwanta Ajefua on it, which is ongoing, but they are saying it doesn't exist.
Dema Esusiosu.
So you know that Dema Esusiosu Techimentia, that road is ongoing. There are 3 contractors on that
Mm-hmm.
stretch. And it's ongoing, but they are saying it doesn't exist. Of course, the Kanda
water, the Kanda borehole.
Kanda borehole, for example, is one that was recorded as an ongoing project. Okay, now and this is the benefit of the transparency we've introduced. Now you can see, if you say I've done this here, the public will say it's not there. If the MC says it's here, they say no, it's not there, right? So the Kanda borehole, people pointed out that it seems to have been abandoned. So we checked with the municipality. And they're saying, yes, in fact, they did dig the borehole, but they found that the water salinity was bad.
Okay.
So they decided to cap it and not continue with the project. But I think in their entries, they did not recognize it as an abandoned project. But those are very easy to amend, you know. Kwami, as we put this website together, many districts are coming, and they have come, said, we have these projects that you didn't capture since we launched it.
Yes.
So many projects.
But then, Mr. Vice President, so then if Kanda is a typical example of what should not have been there, then we can safely guess that there are others in there too that should not be there.
Well, I will not argue with that. If there is, for example, we have a bridge at Mankraho Chira, right? Chira Road,
yes.
A bridge. And that should have come under Tano North Municipal, right? That should have come at Tano North Municipal. But in the entry, it was made. So you will have those sorts of issues, you know, something to be Rovani Rotal Limited, which was captured under Tano South infrastructure, should also have come under Tano North, right? So if you go to Tano...
So if I go to Tano South, I won't see it
You won't see it, and you will say that it doesn't exist. But these projects
yes, but
exist.
Per what you're giving me, it doesn't exist.
Precisely. But I'm saying that is the benefit of the transparency that we have introduced in the system. If it doesn't, we will know, and then we will take steps to make sure it's properly entered. 26 out of 17,000. In fact, today, if you go to the website, because new projects have now been added, because districts are saying we have 18,075. Not 17,000 anymore.
And it can be tracked?
Oh, yeah, it's the same website. It's the same website, 18,075. But if that is the case, right, and you say 26 have problems, and we are going to interrogate that 26, that means you are saying that 99.9% of what you have done is correct. If you can only find 26 that are not correct, right, if those stand to scrutiny. 99.9%. Now, that is massive in terms of what you have been able to do for this country. We should not rubbish things just for political expediency. This is new, the only country in Africa that has been able to bring this to bear, to increase the transparency and accountability in government, in our delivery of infrastructure. So, Kwami, when we next do the next budget, God willing, this tool is going to be very helpful for us, because if you're a ministry and you bring new projects, immediately we are going to go to the infrastructure tracker, because we can tell from the tracker what is going on in education, what is going on in health, what is going on in agric, and so on. We would be able to tell immediately. You say, why haven't you finished these projects? Why will you want to start these ones?
A new project when there's one unfinished.
So in terms of our ability to monitor what is going on and for capital budgeting, something like this is going to be very useful. Right, someone could come and tell you, I have done A, B, C, D, and you look at it, put it on the website, and then they'll say, no, it hasn't been done. And then there's a lot of accountability.
Transparency, therefore.
A lot of transparency. You cannot go and put it out if you don't think it is correct. You must believe that it is correct. And so that is the transparency. You know, of course, if there's been mismatch of entries, you will correct them. And as you go, you will perfect everything. But you cannot run away from the fact that under this MPP government, under the leadership of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, we are bringing in a lot of transparency in government. And this is part of the transparency that we are bringing in.
Well, Your Excellency, I just did a quick check, and from what I understand also, Kenya has also actually activated interoperability with M-Pesa. So somebody says, tell the Vice President.
It's wrong. What you are saying is wrong. M-Pesa interoperability is not the same as Ghana's interoperability.
It's different?
You see, Ghana's interoperability in general sense is you can move money between different mobile telcos, right? The telcos.
Yes.
This is the interoperability Kenya has. But Kenya doesn't have that interoperability between the mobile wallet and the bank account. This is what I'm saying. People need to understand it. What we have done in Ghana has not been done anywhere in Africa. Nowhere. There's no interoperability between bank accounts and the mobile wallets anywhere in Africa. And Kenya doesn't have it. They are way behind us on this matter.
Well, Mr. Digitization says that he believes that we're way ahead of Kenya. And so we'll leave it there until I'm sure that if, for those of you who say you're doing the research on my behalf, if you find... We'll take a break here. Time check, 28 minutes, the top of the hour, 28 minutes to 11 o'clock. Peace 1043. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, Eka Yahun Ewaha Anope. Me sure say you didn't come out for well over 1.5 hours. Yababaka. Yabako MPP manifesto launch ewo Cape Coast. Any emusemi PP by me sure say aeroplane matters, aeroplane park ni emusem na beba. We'll be right back.
Peace FM. Peace FM.
Said you bet me a check in a farmer APC in Sunti.